Churchill, Lord and Lady Muck. They won the war in '44 with their fortitude and pluck. 3 cheers for Boris Johnson. He rides a Boris bike, and he'd like to let the bosses do what the bosses like. Know your place. Know your place. Know your place. Know your place. 3 cheers for public school boys. They're what makes Britain great. 3 cheers for Mumford's banjo. Hip hip for Wills and Kate. 3 cheers for voting UKIP and waving Union Jacks. And we'll all work for peanuts once we send the Windrush back. Know your place. Know your place. Know your place. Know your place. But what about the millions who built the welfare state? Your great-great-grand and granddad and all their union mates. Well, their place was in the trenches. Their place was on the dole. They were lions led by donkeys, hired and fired and bought and sold. So your place is in the union. Your place is out on strike. Your place is shoving Boris Johnson off his fucking bike. Know your place. Sorry. Know your place. Know your place. Know your place. So here's to all the millions who built the welfare state and those who keep it running every day. Know your place. You know, this is I do the day job. I'm a reception teacher, and it's I kind of in a way glad that I've never been able to earn a living at music, really, honestly, because I love teaching so much. But I also think it's really good because I kind of meet ordinary people, don't I? I don't just take drugs in the back of a limousine. Whatever. So I meet people, and I meet the people that, you know, when we talk about austerity, we talk about the impact on people's lives. I work with them. I see them, and it makes me really angry because the children I work with, it reminds me, no one asks to be born. No one gets a vote about where they're born, so everybody deserves the best possible chance they can get. And it really annoys me because little Vinnie Jones, he wants to be an artist, but he lives up in the flats in one of them big blocks up the hill, where you don't get any trees and you don't get any gardens. You get rubbish bins and black sacks and a bus stop, and that's it. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. When we do PE, he always does it barefoot. His dad delivers pizzas. Mum looks 17. But he's really good with words and he's really good with numbers. And he's really good at making things. He's everybody's friend. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. Government says we don't have any money. So we're cutting this, we're cutting that. Work more, pay more, get less. Paying for the people in the nice big houses with their gardens behind high walls where you never feel a thing. Don't ask me why. So don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I don't like the rich. I don't like the rich. I don't like the rich. Vinnie Jones, he wants to be an artist. How many pizzas does it take to get to Monet's garden? How many kids you think ever wanted to be artists? got stuck inside a flat with some pound shop felt tip pens. So don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. Don't ask me why. I don't like the rich. 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 Little Vinnie Jones, he wants to be an artist. Thank you. Staying with education, you're probably aware that we've got this. It was so funny. The front page of the Argus the other day. It had the head teacher of Hope Park breaks his silence. Yes. Exclusively, he's breaking his silence all over the front page of the Argus. And there's a picture of Derek striding purposely forward. And above him, there's a picture of Nigel Farage striding purposely forward. I think, which one's the fascist? And it's really this is a man who wouldn't talk to us, and I love it when you talk about the consultation Labour Party. And there's no consultation, there's been no consultation about Hove Park. Parents have got a glossy leaflet saying, we are going to do this, and the consultation process is in fact death by PowerPoint. You go along there and you get lectured by Derek. You get interesting section of slides. You get the art block photographed from the worst possible angle, so it looks like a shed of an abattoir, and then you get a photograph of mountaineers climbing towards an icy distance or heading off alone into the unknown, which is apparently what the Academy thing will do. We'll be trailblazing up an icy cliff. What you didn't realise, of course, coming from Portsmouth, not living here, is that actually this is, to sort of paraphrase David Peace, this is Brighton and Hove. We do things differently here. We don't really want, I don't think we want a bright, shiny new art block if it's at the expense of the rest of the kids in Brighton and Hove, because of course the canonisation takes the school out of the local asset. We certainly don't want a school where even more power and control is given to one person, because we're into democracy and equality here, and consensus and cooperation. So we have this song called Hands Off Hope Park, and it works even better if you join in. Well, I think Tony would have enjoyed this campaign. Dear Mr. Trimmer, dear Michael Gove, on behalf of the people of Brighton and Hove, we won't be bullied, bribed or fooled. Hands off Hove Park School. Whose school? Our school, not yours. Trimmer and Gove. Whose school? Our school. Keep it bright and home. We like our school the way it is, 'cause it's a school and not a business. Privatisation just makes things worse. We want a school that puts children first. Whose school? Our school, not yours. Trimmer and Gove. Whose school? Our school. Keep it bright and home. Keep it bright and home. You put the con in consultation, 'cause we vote for state education. You keep things quiet, but we sing loudly. No backroom buns from Apple or Saudi. Whose school? Our school, not yours. Trimmer and Gove. Whose school? Our school. Keep it bright and home. We're going to keep it bright and home. Big finish, it goes like this. Hands off Hope Park. Hands off Hope Park. Hands off Hope Park. Hands off Hope Park. Can't hear you. Hands off Hope Park. I wrote in about 1991, and later on, I was a bit worried when you said about Tony's appalling choice of music, because he did used to go around saying it was his favourite song. When I was at Sussex University in 1902, when you got paid to go to university, I was on a train up to Sheffield, and there was this American talking about what university he's from, and he goes, you know, in Canada they pay you to go to university. That's just terrible, isn't it? I thought, well, actually, it's all good. It was lovely. We loved it. And I was really lucky to go to Sussex, and I met this guy called Edvard Goldstucker, and he was a professor of modern Europe. He taught modern European mind, and he taught me all about Kafka and stuff like that, and Albert Camus. And he had a really interesting life. He'd been Dubček's private secretary, and he'd been president of the Czech Writers Union. And in 1968 he was arrested again by Stalinists and shut out of the country. He ended up in Brighton University, Sussex University, where I met him. And it was great. He used to sort of sneak cigarettes from us because his wife didn't let him smoke, because he'd been in the radium mines. He was sentenced to death in 1953 for being too much of a socialist. But luckily Stalin died in time, so they let him out. But he didn't have very good lungs. He used to bump cigarettes off us, and he just used to chat about stuff. It was just so I wrote a song about his life when it's called Winter Turns to Spring, and it was Tony Benn's favourite song. And it could just as easily apply to Tony Benn. Because I knew a man who nothing could dismay or take away his dignity. A man who knew what 2 and 2 meant and how. Many flowers made the spring. He saw spring crushed in 1939 beneath the wheels of Germany. Walked through all the falling cities somehow, like a seed towards the spring. Returning home in 1945, the car was full of Russian tanks, and it was law. 2 2s make 4. Only now it's Joseph Stalin who makes the spring. You have to know the difference between the roundabouts and swings. No matter what the distance, winter turns to spring. Sentenced to death in 1953 for being too much of a socialist. Surprise, surprise, old Stalin dies, and somehow still the flowers make the spring. Through the Cold War he studies Kafka and learns like Galileo to tell as much truth as the times allow, planting seeds towards the spring. You have to know the difference between the roundabouts and the swings. No matter what the distance, winter turns to spring. So when spring came in 1968, Wenceslas was glorious. With the summer, the Russian armour returned to save the people from their spring. I asked him then, in his last exile, how come you're still a socialist? Ask me instead, he said, what 2 and 2 make and how. Many flowers make a spring. Have to know the difference between the roundabouts and the swings. No matter what the distance, winter turns to spring. You see, from Prague to Santiago, Belfast to Beijing, underground and undefeated, Winter turns, winter turns, winter turns, winter turns to spring.
Thank you, Rob.